Hey guys. This is going to be the first of my more unscripted videos. Um, so this one's going to be about priorities. Priorities and managing your energy. What do I mean by that? Um, Life can throw it can throw a lot of things at you. You know, life is very stressful. It's very chaotic. It requires risks. There's a lot that can go into throwing you off your course, right? Life can really mess with you. And I feel like it's important to acknowledge that certain things in your life are not worth the energy you give them. And so today I kind of want to talk about priorities and matching the energy of the things around you. Life will give you problems, often multiple at once. Okay, rarely at any point in your life will you only be dealing with one thing. That just doesn't happen. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these problems aren't one and done things. You have to put time and effort into solving these issues so that we no longer have them, right? And that's just how the problem solving process goes. The issues that you're presented in life, whether it be a new workout routine, a new relationship, getting that promotion at work, getting the job in the first place, holy shit, that's difficult. Maybe it's just holding the job you already have. It could be anything. These things require your energy. They require your mental capacity, right? And your brain really only has so much processing room, right? For example, I have ADHD, depression, and mild anxiety. Um, and so my ADHD makes it incredibly difficult to focus sometimes. Like I'm surprised I am playing this game and talking about this at the same time in a somewhat coherent manner. Um, that's kind of why I picked something I knew like Bendy, because it's simple. So Bendy here, as I'm playing this game isn't taking up too much of my energy because I'm focused on talking to you guys, right? That's how you should treat any problem. You know, you want to put the least amount of energy into the things that matter the least. You have to get your priorities set and straight, right? So back to my own issues, I suppose. I like to use myself as an example here. Depression. Depression can be really taxing. And along with that comes a lot of bad feeling, a lot of bad thoughts that most of the time aren't true. And that's where you really have to be on top of your energy. So I want to talk about how you can better put your energy towards the things that actually matter. For example, I'm going to use them as an example because they've been on my mind. It's just been kind of what I've been occupied with lately. I have a business partner, a friend, an associate, I guess, who is going through a lot right now. And, you know, as you know, I do, well, you don't know, but I do a lot of tarot. And so I did a strength reading for her. And basically it came down to you are able to suppress these bad energies that are blocking your path from being able to make the quick intuitive decisions necessary in order to maintain your state of balance, right? these bad thoughts are throwing you off of your mental balance. And so you can't function properly anymore. You're not at efficiency anymore, right? And that's kind of what inspired me to put this out, because it's just kind of been on my mind. We often take a lot of the things we have going on in our life for granted, you know. Life can throw a lot at you, and it can feel very alone most of the time. And unfortunately, most of the time, that's going to be true, because we all have some friends that we can rely on, right? We all have certain people that we can turn to in a time of need. People that you can, at the very least, talk about your problems to. And if they can't provide you a solution, they are able to listen. And that's more important than anything, right? The ability to just listen is so valuable, especially nowadays where people are just so cold-hearted and hateful for seemingly no reason. People can be especially cruel. And so it's important to remember that other people won't always be there for you. You, at the end of the day, and regardless of what kind of support you might have, you may or may not have, you will always be your best friend and your worst enemy. And so you have to be able to kind of discern between the bad thoughts and the good thoughts. For example, inner doubts. Inner doubts are a big one. I see that one all the time. People get so worried about, oh, is this going to work? Am I going to be able to do this? Is this the right thing for me? What if I'm doing this wrong? There's a lot of factors for that, right? And so I just kind of want to help you guys out here. Anxiety is a big one. Don't listen to those thoughts, guys. Anxiety is not something that you should pour your heart and soul into, right? Anxiety will steal your energy. It will rob you. And especially if you have depression, it will put you back down. It'll knock you down. Being anxious will upset you, and the more stressful things get and the more stressed you become, those thoughts will start to seep in a little easier. You'll be off your kilter. You won't be able to balance yourself anymore. And that's why I brought up that reading, because it's correct. It's so very important to remember that some things aren't worth your energy. And while not everybody can bury their thoughts like this, it's very important to remember that everybody can do that to an extent. It's a very important skill to have. If you're going to make it in this world, you've got to be able to shut your own thoughts down immediately, because there are going to be times where you doubt yourself. Everyone's done that. Everyone's sat down and said, I can't do this. Everyone's had that thought. That's not a unique thing to anybody. Everybody has doubted themselves at least once. Everyone has that thought of, what if I fail? And it's okay to be afraid of failure. That's okay. Please, don't think that failure is bad. Failure is not bad. Failure says you tried. And now you can look back and look at what you did wrong. And you can see where you went wrong. And you can do it again next time and do it better. You can be more efficient. You can be happier. Great example. As most of you know, if you've watched these, you'll know that I've just recently gotten, well, recently is an exaggeration, beginning of the year, I got out of a pretty rough relationship that I kind of locked myself into. I did this to myself because I was determined to make things better. I was determined to make it work and to try to fix things because I felt like I had to. And knowing what I know now, I know that that's just not true. It's just not. Certain things, especially things like that make you so unhappy, aren't worth your energy. That's what I'm really getting at here. There are things like this that just aren't worth it. And it's very difficult sometimes to bury those thoughts. But I want to talk about it because I feel like it's very important. So I'm gonna take a break here to kind of process this for a second, to kind of really get across what I'm trying to say, because I don't script these things. I should, but this is completely unscripted. Depression. Depression is a big one. And for some people it is seasonal. For some people it's clinical. Right? There's a difference. For some people it's just a time of year thing. It can be any time of year. Or it can be situational. You can just be in a bad spot and just really be down about it. And it's just, it becomes a problem, right? And the fastest way to cure it is to remove it. It becomes a bout of priorities, right? Back to what I said in the beginning about priorities and energy management. Your priority should be saying, okay, I know that this thing is not doing me any good. It's robbing me of my energy, and I can't hold down my job as well. I'm thinking about it all the time. Things can rob your energy like that. And so it's a very important skill to say, hey, this thing isn't worth the time. And that's something that I'm not really sure how to advise you on, because worth is a very independent topic. How much something means to you is very personal, and give me a second because I'll forget that. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Banjo, trace, bone. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Decompression time. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Ba ba da ba da ba da. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Right? Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. I forget there's a banjo in here. Banjo, bass, drum, banjo. Banjo. Fun. It did push button. But anyway, it's, what was I getting at? Right. Priorities, right. It's worth is something so immeasurable, on a cookie cutter level. You can't give something like that a measurement. It's not something you can quantify. Worth is personal. And so that's something I can't really help you with. What I can help you with is how to manage it. And it's very simple. It's a system of give and take. It's very easy. It's simple as that. The equation, if you will, goes like this. If you put more energy into it than you get back, then you need to withdraw your energy. For example, I'll use my previous relationship as an example because it's kind of perfect. In the beginning of this relationship, I put not as much as I could have been into things because I was trying to sort my own work out. And she was putting a lot into me, and she wasn't getting a lot back. And so naturally, over time, she started to withdraw because she learned this lesson way before I did. And so she knew that it wasn't worth it because she was suffering for it. And so she kind of withdrew from me. And I, over time, learned to put more energy into her. But because she had withdrawn from me, I was now putting in more than she was. And that, combined with my ever-present need to prove that I could make her happy, I stuck myself there for a long time, a lot longer than was necessary. And it hurt. It hurt me because I sacrificed a lot of myself trying to make someone else happy that I couldn't possibly make happy. Because she didn't need me anymore. She didn't care. And so, you know, it's important to look at things like that and say, this thing isn't really serving me anymore. And so I should get rid of it. And you know, serving sounds bad. You know, I don't mean serving as like, oh, a slave or some sort of shit. No, it's absolutely not. No. What I mean by that is, again, it's an exchange of energy. That energy should be equal and opposite, right? You know, if you say, for example, I'll use my my associate as an example once again. I've put a lot of time into their server, into their community, into making sure things are running as smoothly as I possibly can make them, right? I'm putting a lot of my knowledge and expertise to use, and I want to make this community grow because that's what she wants. That's what they want to come from this, so that they can get out of their situation, right? They're trying to build a community, and so I'm putting everything I can into that because I know how to do that. I just don't have the outreach in order to do it. Like, if these videos went somewhere, I could build this. But unfortunately, I just don't have that outreach at the moment, which is sad, but it's a slow process. You know, I'm not rushing it. I don't want that bomb of fame, you know, because I'm not ready for that. But the issue here with that is that, technically speaking, on a surface level, I don't get anything back from this. On a physical level like that, you know, I don't get that same energy returned to me, right? Because she's not going to do anything for me. This is a courtesy thing for me. It's not about that, right? Because she's got so much going on a larger scale than me. I'm tiny compared to that, right? And so I'm not going to get that energy back, and I know that. But what I do get back is the satisfaction, the happiness. I see my energies going to work. I see my energies helping someone in need. And that gives me inner fulfillment. It tells me, hey, what you're doing is worth it. It's working. And so that in itself makes the whole thing worth it, despite the fact that she herself technically doesn't give me anything in return. It doesn't matter, because that's not what it's about. What it's about is the fact that my efforts are working. It's going to a good place. It's doing what I want it to do, and that is helping something grow, right? And so, as a result, I'm incredibly happy, and I'm completely satisfied with the whole thing. Also, look at this. Funny quirk. He won't spawn. And, for some reason, this is bugged. I don't know why. I have it, but, you know. It's a fun little quirk, huh? Anyway. Boo. On top of that, I also get the satisfaction of seeing their community grow without me. You know, it doesn't have to be my result. I see someone that is in need slowly doing better. And that is so immensely satisfying to watch. That in itself would give me so much dopamine and serotonin right there. That gives me so much happy. But to know that I'm helping makes it all the sweeter, right? Am I doing it for me? No, absolutely not. It's completely for them. But that's what I'm talking about. It's an exchange of energies. I put in my work and effort and time to try and make something bigger and better, to try and build something, to help this person do better and become more, right? And that, in turn, gives me a sense of satisfaction watching it work. And that gives me that energy back. I get restored from watching this actually succeed. It makes me feel great. And that's worth it. That's what I'm talking about. If you're in a situation where you're putting in more energy than you're getting back, and it no longer feels like a worthwhile expenditure of your time, you shouldn't be doing it anymore. That's the point of this. That's priority. For example, people in a relationship, this is peak relationship advice right here. Your partner, obviously, should be your top priority at all times. But you also have to be able to acknowledge the fact that you, regardless of your situation, will never be able to completely fulfill your partner's needs, because there will always be something that you just can't do, because people aren't perfect, and that's okay. You have to be able to say, it's okay that I can't do that. That's fine. It's okay. Because they don't necessarily need it. They really want it. For example, everybody has their hopes and dreams, right? Like, right now, my partner really wants a really nice race car. There's a lot, so I'm not going to name any one of them specifically, but the point is, I can't provide that because it's expensive as hell. I can't just drop that kind of money because, frankly, I can't even buy my own food at the moment. Because getting a job in this economy is a fucking travesty. You know what I'm saying? So, unfortunately, things like that are just something I can't do. There's a lot of things that I would love to do for her that, just because of our situation, because we're extremely long distance. She's in New Zealand and I am on the east coast of the US of A. We are incredibly far from one another. And there's a lot of things that I just can't do for her. That's just kind of how it is, right? It's just a product of being so far away from each other. There's only so much I can do, right? And so it's an important skill to know that, hey, there's some things that you just can't do right now, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Because you can't do it, don't pour energy into something that you can't do. Another good one. Not everybody wants to be helped. You can see someone that's not doing well and needs help and needs support and advice, but if they don't want that advice, if they don't want to be better, then your advice is going to fall on deaf ears. None of it's going to matter. Right? Oh, my fucking neck. Ow. Ah. You can say everything you want to them. You can say exactly what they need to hear, and they won't listen. They'll hear you, and they won't listen because they don't want it. They don't want to. And that's where we run into the issue, right? because they don't want the help, you're not going to see the growth, and it's not going to be worth your time and effort. Your energy will not be returned, right? And so that's where we have a problem, you know? I don't remember which one it is. Sorry, I'm spacing out. I think it's Boars. We'll find out, won't we? I'm sorry. Anyway, but the point I'm trying to make here is, right, life presents you with a lot of issues. And not all of them you can solve right away. Some of them require you to work through other things first. And so you have to be able to say, you know what, I can't do that right now. Manage your stress, and you will be incredibly happy. Priorities and energy it's so important. Especially in today's world, and doubly so if you live in America right now, because we are falling from a democracy to a dictatorship, and that for us Americans is terrifying, because that's unprecedented for us. You know, we built our laws specifically to avoid that, so we've got a lot going on right now, a lot that isn't great, you know. Things are really bad, you know. And you know what? We can't fix that, can we? Not immediately. You know, we can take steps, but we can't immediately flip a switch and cause the problem to go away. And so that should be lower on the list of priorities than something like going to work or keeping your schedule steady or making sure that the house is clean or something like that, you know. Things in your immediate space that you can change immediately should be higher priority than the things that you can't do a lot about, or maybe nothing at all. There's some problems that you just can't immediately solve, right? That's what I'm talking about. You have to manage things like that. For example, whatever thing that you are trying to be better at right now, right this moment, should be priority number one, right? Whether that be exercising or reading more or just going on walks every day or trying to quit drinking or smoking, or it could be literally anything. Whatever you're doing to make yourself a better person, that should be your top priority automatically, because that's the most important thing, right? Is being better people. Right under that is your everyday routine, because that's what keeps the skills that you've already gotten in check, in flow. For example, if you've already gotten on a good exercise routine, that should be important to maintain. Because if you don't maintain it, you lose it, right? And so it's very important to remember that you've got things that need to be done. For example, you have to go to work, otherwise you don't get to have food. You have to go to the store, otherwise you don't get to have food either. You have to pay your bills, or you're not going to have power. You're not going to have water. You might not even have a house anymore. You have to pay your rent, or they're going to steal your home. You know, there's so many things that you have to do. Where'd Boris go? Oh, he's over there. I just broke my own brain there. I'm sorry. There's so many things you have to stay on top on. On top on. On top on. Da da da. Ha da 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 da. On top on. Great English. Fuck. There's so many things that you have to be on top of, right? Because if you drop something from your daily routine, you may just drop it entirely. And that's a step backwards, right? We don't want to go backwards. We want to go forwards, right? Because that's the direction life is going. We can't afford to take steps backwards. Nothing like that will get you anywhere, right? So you have to make sure that your daily routine, which you've spent your top priority trying to establish, is running well and smooth, right? Just below that should be self-care. Making sure that you're okay comes before making sure anyone else is okay. Because if you're not full and steady and okay, you can't really help people. Okay? You could try, and you can give sort of solid advice, but you will be a lot clear-headed. A lot more clear-headed. You will have a lot more peace of mind, and you will be steadier in your words and wisdom and ways than you would be if you weren't well. Being able to be stable is very, very important. Also, I will not stare at that for the sake of your eyeballs. I'm sorry. Okay, I might look at it a little. I like to race bars here. Hold on, I gotta lock in. No, the collision. Hang on, I gotta beat his ass. He decided to run through me, but anyway. Fuck, what was I talking about? Right. Self-care is very important because, as a wise man once said, you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to have something to give in order to give it to people. And so you have to be all right because you have to give some to yourself, right? And so you have to be able to take care of yourself well enough to have some left over to give to other people. If you're not okay, you can't take care of people. All right? Now, just under that, in your general priority list, should be other people. Your partner, close friends, not as close friends, and then socializing. Your partner should be your top priority list of the other people that you care for. Right? Immediately, obviously, they're your partner. They're like the most important thing to you. That should be your number one priority other than yourself, right? The second priority is your close friends, your inner circle, the people that have been there with you through the years. Your friend, that friend that you just randomly met that just hasn't left you since, and you guys know way more about each other than you should. That's where they go, the second slot. The third slot is for new friends. You know, people that you might have met more recently that you don't have as much of a connection with, but you still like them. That's where they go. And then below that is new people, strangers. You know, maybe you go into an online space, for example, Discord, and you just go out and talk to people, you know. You maybe go out to a cafe somewhere or something, and you just kind of sit. Or maybe you go to the bar and you order a drink and just start carrying a conversation with the guy next to you because he just happens to be sitting there. Then you can start pouring energy into them, maybe. But that's the very last thing on the list. Because people that you don't know, you don't owe anything to. You don't owe anything to anybody. But you might feel morally obligated to help the people you care about because you care about them. These strangers don't necessarily mean anything to you. You're here because you want to be. And if you no longer want to be, that's perfectly okay. And so they are on the bottom of the list. And that's really all. Because your routine includes things like workouts, showering, eating, going to work, steady everyday life, the things that we're used to, right? Personal hygiene, making sure everything's all right in the house, making sure that your car is good, maintaining oil and all that. Making sure everything around you is running smoothly, getting your exercise in, things that you're used to in the world. That's your daily routine. But the top thing on that list is you, right? Before anything else should be your self-improvement. Because, frankly, if you're not trying to be a better person in the world, what are you doing? Seriously, legitimately. If you're not spending your days trying to be better as a person, what are you doing? You're just doing nothing. Especially if you've worked the same job for a while, because that gets old. That gets boring. You get set in a rut. You get set in a routine, and that routine becomes a rut. And it gets boring and old and stale. You have to keep things fresh in your life, or you will lose drive. You'll lose direction. And so you have to have a direction. That's why I always tell people to never stop working on themselves, because you will always be the most important person in your life. And the two most important things you can do is take care of yourself and learn new things. You should always be striving to grow as a person, because you'll never be perfect. And so you'll always have something to learn. And until you get old and set in your ways, there's no reason to stop trying to do that. So what I'm trying to say here is there should always be something in the back of your mind that you're actively working at and actively trying to do better about. That is the most important thing you can do in your life. Be better. That's so incredibly important. What did he respawn? I killed him. Anyway. But yeah, that's really all I've got to say, honestly. Just, seriously, guys, keep a routine and keep a checklist in your mind of making sure that you're okay. Because if you're not okay, then you can't help other people. And more importantly than that, keep moving forward. Because if you stop, you will get stale and old and boring. And things will just no longer be as exciting anymore. Once life stops being exciting, you stop being happy, right? You gotta be doing new things. You gotta stay fresh, because life will run you into a rut if you don't try new things. You've got to be new and fresh. But with that, I think I'm going to stop it there, actually. I think that's a great stopping point. Just keep moving forward. Keep pushing forward to be better and learn new things. Learn better things. Learn how to do something better that you were already doing. It's very simple, right? Life is a cycle. And you will always have some sort of problem that you need to solve, right? And so you too should be constantly evolving. That's why a lot of people don't like the elderly, because the older you get, your brain can physically no longer adapt to change, and they get set in their ways, and that's why they kind of get left by the wayside, because they don't want to change anymore. They can't. And once you stop changing, the world becomes closed off to you, because you can no longer keep up with life. I firmly believe that's why people die of old age. Because, yes, their body is failing you, but your mind is failing you. You are physically lacking the chemicals to want to live. And once you lose that will to be alive, your body will quickly fail you. Anybody that has depression knows this. Once that depression hits you, you will feel like you're dying. You won't be. Physically you'll be completely healthy. You could be totally fine. But depression will shut down your systems. And you'll feel like you're dying because everything suddenly feels so samey. Life gets stale immediately. So remember, guys, keep working on yourself. Keep your daily routine strict and rigid. Make sure you do these same things every day because you worked hard to get here. You got to stay here. It's maintenance. Maintain your routine. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you're okay. And make sure that you are able to help other people before you try to. And make sure that you're taking care of the people you care about, starting with your partner, your close friends, your other friends, and then new people. Meet new people, new strangers. That is my list of priorities to help you keep your energy intact. This has been Seraph, I guess you can call me. I will be signing off now. Take this advice. Take it to heart. Apply it. I hope it helps you. It's helped me a great deal. Because maintaining your own energy is very important. I love you guys. Good luck to you all.